Good morning, everyone. It is Mo with Mornings with Mo and Fry, and I know we have Charlie Adelson on the stand, so it is no shame that we will have mostly replay crew. Good morning, Eris, and good morning, Reindeer. I know it is. Look, I want to be over there watching Charlie tell his ridiculous story too. But we have newsy news and we have stories. The first story today is Bob Knight is dead at 83 years old. Now, I will tell you, even as a non sports ball kind of gal, um, living in Indiana, Bob Knight is a big deal. You know, even when I was, I think, in fifth grade, I got to go meet the basketball players, and you could tell the respect that they had for Bob Knight, even if he wasn't coaching. I think I got to shake his hand. And, just the respect and courtesy they had for him. And, he might have been a little bit loud, a little bit crazy, a little bit, passionate, but he was definitely a big part of Indiana kind of life for a while. Good morning, AC Wildflower. So it is a big loss in a lot of people in Indiana, and I respect that because, while I might not be a big sports fan, I know it's a thing that's really important for a lot of people. So let's get into the article. Bob Knight, one of the most legendary coaches in the history of college basketball, has died at the age of 83. In a statement, Knight's family said he passed away at his home surrounded by his family. And, honestly, I think that's the way most of us would wish we could, if we had a choice in how we leave this world. I think that's the way we would want to go. We are grateful for the thoughts and prayers and appreciate the continued respect for our privacy as the coach requested a private family gathering, which is being honored, the statement read. We will continue to celebrate his life and remember him today and forever as the beloved husband, father, coach, and friend. Knight is probably most well known for his outspoken nature, his volatility both on and off the court in play, and in his interactions with people. In April 2016, he joined former President Donald Trump on stage at a rally in Indiana after him endorsing him in his ultimate successful run in the White House. I mean, he was honestly a really integral part of Indiana, really just one of those kind of household figures around here. If you were in Indiana, you kind of knew who Bob Knight was, even if you weren't a sports ball fan like me. In basketball, he will go down as the greatest coach in history of the storied program at Indiana University, leading the Hoosiers to 3 national titles. Tributes immediately began to pour in for Coach Knight on social media. Knight was born in Orrville, Ohio, and went to college in Ohio State University from 1959 to 1962. Well, yeah, I mean, there's always gonna be some schmucks. It's the internet. It's a place where schmucks live, allegedly, or where people engage in schmucky behavior when they're having a bad day. Look, I may have called the entire team at Court TV T-waffles when I was mad. I apologized for saying that. So, people can engage in bad behavior on the internets. It happens. Uh, he played on the basketball team there and helped the Buckeyes win in 1960 or the 1960 title. Uh, Knight would also feature on the 1961 and 1962 teams that lost back-to-back title games, both times to the University of Cincinnati. After his playing career had ended, Knight would go on to the military before joining the coaching ranks, beginning with a team in the United States Military Academy, West Point. With the Army, he would win 102 games and would coach a young Michael Krowitsky. who would go on to coach Duke and become the all-time winningest head coach in college basketball. Good morning, Christine. I hope you're having a good day. After nearly 7 years at the Army, Knight would move on to Indiana and coach there for nearly 3 decades. I totally get it, Eris. After 7 oh, yes. He reached the final fou or 5 Final Fours and would go on to 3 national title games, winning all 3. Knight's Hoosiers beat Michigan in 1976, North Carolina in 1981, and Syracuse in 1987. During his time there, Knight became known for his temper, as he was known as much as he was known for his success. He famously threw plastic chairs across the court during a game against Purdue that cemented his name in college basketball lore. Uh, the chair became a running gag of Knight's, with the coach once joking that he tossed the chair because he saw an old lady on the opposite sideline. He threw it so she could sit down. You know what? I'm beginning to like this man even more. Knight's temper ended up catching up with him in 2000 after CNN Sports Illustrated Network ran a story detailing how a former player, Neil Reed, claimed that the coach had choked him during a practice in 1997. The coach denied the claim, but the network later ran footage appearing to show Knight placing his hands on Reed's neck. Look, I'm beginning to look, you have a bunch of young college kids being kind of young, dumb college kids. Look, good morning, Wolfram. Indiana University President Miles Brand said he had a tolerance policy when it came to Knight's behavior. In a separate incident occurring involving Knight grabbing a student by the arm, Brand asked Knight to resign. When he refused, Brand fired him. The resulting outcry from Indiana students and alumni resulted in Brand being burned in effigy and around the clock coverage in national media. Knight took a year off from coaching before joining Texas Tech in 2001. He continued to coach there until 2008 when he officially announced his retirement. In addition to his time in college basketball, Knight also coached the US or Team USA at the 1984 Olympics, winning the gold medal. He was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 1991, and his 902 career wins is a good or fourth most in the men's all game behind Krasinski. Look, y'all, in following the MLS Talking Good School of Thought, that is how we say that name. Former Syracuse head coach Jim Boheim and former Kansas and North Carolina coach Roy Williams. Good morning, This Way Up. I hope you're having a good day. So, rest in peace, Coach Bob Knight. I am glad you got to go peacefully in your sleep surrounded by people you love. That is something that most of us wish for. And, you were a great part of, I'm sure, helping shape a lot of young men's life. And for the most part, they seem to have glowing recommendations of you. And, sometimes you got to lose your cool just a little bit. Sometimes anger is a way we express ourselves. Sometimes. It's not always right. I don't know what he got into last night, but he was, like, on Spinal Tap 11 last night. So, we were Well, that's okay. I thought today was Friday, so I called Mr. Mo and said, "I put out the trash for you. You forgot." And he's like, "Well, that's good, but today is Thursday." I even had my little icon that said it was Friday. And I was like, "Oh, well, never mind. I'm a moron. I'll call you back later." Explosive complaint against DA behind failed Barry Moorfield case said she asked investigator to dig up dirt on judge's divorce. Yes, I think so. Well, I think he got really, really, anxious about, uh, Halloween. I think all the people coming in he gets scared of the girls coming home because they kinda go up to their rooms. He doesn't do stairs as well. I think it's because I don't go upstairs as much and he kinda sticks next to me, so he hasn't conquered the stairs as much. So, I need to work on for myself doing stairs once a day so he can work on doing stairs. So I think the girls scare him, so new people kinda Twitter paid him. So I think he was just overly anxious and he thought maybe new people were gonna start coming every night. But yeah, this prosecutor seems to be, just like the judge in the Delphi case. She seems to have grown a little too big for her britches, if you will. She seems to have just gone a little bit nuts. The district attorney who brought then dropped the murder case against Barry Morphew in the Mother's Day 2002 disappearance and death of his wife, Suzanne Morphew, asked the chief investigator to dig up dirt on the divorce of the judge who presided over the failed case in an explosive complaint filed by Colorado Supreme Court's independent attorney regulatory body. The complaint filed Monday against the 11th Judicial District Attorney Linda Stanley, who handles cases in Chaffee County, Custer County, Fremont County, and Park County, listed seven total claims that the DA violated Colorado rules of professional conduct, the first five of which relate to the Morphew case, sorry. The identified rules: A, lawyer shall act with reasonable diligence and promptness, Colorado Rule of Professional Conduct 1.3, pretrial publicity, prosecutors' extrajudicial comments, responsibilities of supervisory lawyer, attempt to violate rules of professional conduct and conduct pretrial to administration of justice, collectively painted a picture of Stanley botching the Morphew prosecution by withholding exculpatory evidence, impermissibly talking about the case on YouTube with the channel Profiling Evil, and in Facebook messages with Julie's Wolf of True Crime with Julie's, and failing to make sure that the prosecutors under her supervisions themselves abided by the rules of professional conduct. Even after respondent was on notice that her prosecution team had been sanctioned for discovery violations, the respondent failed to verify the designated experts or excerpts, no, experts had interviews as to their scope of their opinion prior to being closed, failed to verify expert disclosures had been reviewed before filing, failed to verify that all material in support of expert disclosures had been disclosed, failed to ensure that such disclosures were timely, and thus did not make reasonable efforts to ensure prosecutors in the Morphew case were complying with the rules of professional conduct, the complaint said. But claim 5 was the most eye-popping of all, as it alleged the DA Stanley instructed her chief investigator, Andrew Corey. Yeah, I well, yeah, he is not. Mr. Mo keeps laughing at me because he's like, "You got bamboozled." And that's fine. The cats, especially Loki, seem to love the pineapple bed, and I think, once I clean it out, Fry will love the, big human-sized bed once it gets a little, colder. I sit it in front of the fire, and I just lay there in it. It's a fan favorite, so, you know, in the natural circle of life, I buy something just for me, and then the family kind of takes it over. So it is, you know, it's a frivolous purchase, but I'm not going to lie. If you have an extra $200 lying around one day and you are on the fence about buying one of those big human dog beds, um, take the plunge because it is just very, very comfy. I got mine on Amazon. I'm not gonna lie, it's my favorite place to hang out in front of the fire. So I can vouch they are comfy as heck. But it is a very frivolous purchase, I'm not going to lie. Oh, and I'm so sorry, Eris. I know losing a pet is just awful. And good morning, Nanders and Bun. I will one day say your name right first time. It'll be a Christmas miracle. Also, someone already was decorating for Christmas, and my boys were like, what is going on here? It's not even Thanksgiving yet." And I said, "My sons, I have raised you right." Uh, the DA instructed her chief investigator, Andrew Corey, to quote, investigate the ex-wife of 11th Judicial District Court Attorney or Judge Ramsey Lama to uncover information about his divorce that might lead the presiding judge to recuse himself or otherwise be disqualified from the Morphew case, despite having no credible source for suspecting that Judge Lama might have physically abused his ex wife or had other conduct that would justify a criminal investigation. What is this woman's issue? So it boils down to basically they had nothing on Barry Morphew. They had, in fact, exculpatory evidence, but this prosecuting attorney just wanted to go after this man. Now, granted, he did look all the guilty on all the social media, and apparently she went on all the social media regardless of rules because, that's what apparently prosecutors do now. From the complaint, 139 respondent persisted in having her own investigator interview Judge Lama's ex-wife, even after Commander Alex Walker refused to interview Judge Lama's ex-wife due to the lack of credible evidence to warrant an interview. 49. Respondent used her position and office resources in a manner intended to prevent others, including Judge Lama, from effectively performing their roles in the criminal justice system. 41. Respondent's actions constituted an abuse of her power as an elected district attorney and were contrary to prosecutors' responsibility to act as a minister of justice. 42. Through her actions, respondent acted in a manner that constituted an attempt to prejudice the administration of justice and also was prejudicial to the administration of justice. Stanley allegedly texted other prosecutors, encouraging them to investigate whether Judge Lama ever abused his ex-wife, the complainant continued. Respondent decided to interview Eris Lama because, quote, "We didn't understand Judge Lama's orders that were so egregious against us. He's normally not like that. And we were discussing what's going on. And those other two came together. And we said, let's see if we can get somebody to interview her to see what was going on or if she suspects that he's trying to get back at her, essentially in an almost passive aggressive way, making this in case impossible to prosecute. We wanted to see if she would say anything to us about any of that, or if these actions by the judge may be almost a passive aggressive move against her." Why would that matter? Why would he sabotage a case to get back at his ex-wife unless his ex-wife works as a prosecuting attorney, which I don't have that information, but it makes no sense. As Law and Crime noted while covering a completely separate case in September, Stanley found herself in hot water for an August interview with KRDO, in which she made a very blunt, extrajudicial statements on camera about William Henry Jacobs and Brooke Crawford, a boyfriend and girlfriend who had not yet gone to trial for the alleged Motel 6 murder of a 10-month-old baby boy. Quote, "Without the care factor, without the love factor, the baby is a pain in the ass," Stanley said in the interview, commenting on her view of the alleged motive. "I'm going to be very blunt here," quote, or this is a quote, "He has zero investment in this child, zero. He's watching that baby so he can get laid. That's it. And have a place to sleep," the DA said of the boyfriend. "I'm sorry to be that blunt, but honest to God, that's what's going on." Is this a DA or a teenage girl? I mean, I can say that because I'm Mo, and I don't have a legal law degree. I mean, I have, Post-it note 1 of the Darrell Brooks, Learn to Legal Law and Lawful Law book. I mean, he hasn't sent me the next Post-it. I mean, I think he's busy with his own case, as a third-party intervener right now, but she's a legal law person. What the hell is she doing here? I have no idea. Let's continue. Those remarks were the subject of claims 6 and 7 in the complaint, citing the rule against making extrajudicial statements that a lawyer can, quote, reasonably should know will be disseminated by means of public communication and have a substantial likelihood of prejudicing and objective proceeding in a matter. So basically, she's poisoning the jury pool because, she's running her daggone mouth. I can't imagine. And a rule barring prosecutors from making out of court comments that have substantial likelihood of heightening public condemnation of the accused. Quote, even after she's already suffered the consequences of her extrajudicial statements in the Morphew case, respondent continued with more brazen statements. How does this woman have a job? The complainant said, noting the elected DA is up for re-election in 2024, shall refrain under the rule from opining on the local news about the defendant's guilt or innocent and is inherently prejudicial. Many of the marks are included verbatim in the complaint, and the interviews in question remain online. Beyond the professional conduct probe, Stanley was named as a defendant in May, along with numerous state and federal investigation in Barry Morphew's federal civil rights lawsuit. Morphew alleged that his quote name and reputation were irreparably tarnished by quote conspiracy to violate his state and federal constitutional rights. As a liar? Sounds good, Wolfram. I mean, at least she's being honest about it. I would not do dark black eyeliner under my eyes. Look, the problem is I have really dark, eye bags here, so I wouldn't, accentuate it, but ma'am, you do you. If that is the makeup you choose, he is plotting. If that is the makeup you choose, ma'am, you go for it. But, I don't know that it's flattering to you. But you do you, you rock you, have at it. Is that one of those daggone what is up with the ruffles, ladies? I don't understand the ruffles on shirts. We are not pirates. I don't understand it. Morpheus separately called for Stanley to be disbarred in a complaint to the very regulatory body now alleging multiple violations of Colorado rules of professional conduct. In September, more than a year after Barry Morphew's murder case was dismissed, investigators finally found Suzanne Morphew's remains. No arrests or charges have been found or followed, and it's likely had to do with the yet to explained, quote, unknown male DNA that was found on, quote, various items of the crime scene, the interior cushion of the bike, helmet, Miss Morphew's bike, the glove box, the backseat of Miss Morphew's Range Rover. Before tossing the case, Judge Lama was particularly taken aback that this potential exculpatory information was not disclosed to the Morphew defense for 2 months, even as the unknown male DNA was partially matched to DNA found in 3 outstanding or out-of-state unsolved sexual assault cases in Tempe, Phoenix, and Chicago. The state went on to dismiss the case against Morphew without prejudice 9 days before jury selection was set to begin. That is ridiculous. I I can't with that. I mean, she was ready to go to trial knowing that there was unknown DNA on all of these items that was linked to other unsolved cases, and she hadn't turned that over to I can't. I can't with this. Judge Lama resigned in July 2022, citing health and personal reasons. Stanley has not yet commented on the complaint, but she will have a chance to formally respond to the Office of Attorney Regulations. Quote, if the intake attorney assigned to the investigation determines that a response from the respondent attorney is required, the office will send the respondent attorney a formal letter requesting a response. The letter will describe the facts of the complaint and list the Colorado rules of professional conduct implicated pursuant to the code. So I think she's going to have a lot of issues with this. She seems unprofessional, you know, as per this. But again, this is all from, people investigating her. So Maybe she has a personal side that you know, got that will be paid. Maybe she has reasons, you know? We haven't heard her side yet. In other shenanigans, a Connecticut judge orders a new mayoral primary after surveillance videos show possible ballot stuffing. Say it isn't so. I have heard that we have the freest, most fairest, most awesomest, most non-stuffiest stuff ever. This has never happened in the entire everness. YouTube, I am only reporting the newsy news. This is not my words. Don't come at me. This is Yahoo and the Associated Press. Mo didn't write this. Fry didn't write this. He is not Wishbone. He cannot write. A state judge has taken the unusual step of ordering a new Democratic mayoral primary in Connecticut's largest city to be held after the November 7th general election is completed. I think that's backwards, but okay. The decision comes after surveillance videos show a woman stuffing what appeared to be absentee ballots into an outdoor ballot box days before the original primary. Superior Court Judge William Clark determined the allegations of possible malfeasance warrant throwing out the results of the September 12th primary, which incumbent Bridgeport Mayor Joe Gainham won by 251 votes out of 8,137 cast. I know. It's 100% above board. No shenanigans ever. No shenanigans. Absentee ballots secured his margin of victory. Quote, "The volume of ballots so mishandled is such that it calls the results of the primary election into serious doubt and leaves the court unable to determine the legitimate result of the primary," Clark wrote in his ruling, adding that the videos are shocking to the court and should be shocking to all parties. The new primary date has not yet been set. Despite the judge's call for a new primary, the general election is expected to continue as planned. Gainham will appear as the Democratic nominee, while Gomes will appear as an independent candidate. Republican David Hers will be petitioning candidate Lamond Daniel are also running for mayor. Gainham's opponent, John Gomes, whose campaign obtained the surveillance video and released it publicly after the primary, sued city officials and demanded a new primary for him to be declared the winner. Under Connecticut law, voters using collection box must drop off their completed ballots themselves or designate certain family members, police, or local election officials or a caregiver to do it for them. The Gnomes and Game campaigns did not immediately respond to messages. Video evidence exhibits testimony proved that election fraud on a scale never seen in Connecticut or anywhere else in the country in recent history.
Let's not all panic at once. Let's not all panic at once.
Sure.
My God, are you still talking?
Sure, Jan. Yeah, so this is the only time that ballots have ever been stuffed. Connecticut is the only time, and they found it, and now it's all being put to right. There you go. Congratulations, Connecticut, well spotted. Yes, Wolfram. It's, um, it's the circle of life. In other news, newspaper publisher and reporter are arrested for leaking grand jury information per the cops. A newspaper publisher who is also an elected school board member and a reporter were arrested in Alabama after they allegedly revealed grand jury secrets. The publisher, Sherry Digman, and was arrested again Wednesday after she was indicted by a grand jury on the charge of committing a felony ethics violation. The Wait, we actually care about ethics now? I thought if you were in politics, you just kinda gave them up and put them in a drawer, you locked them in a box, you threw that box where Jimmy Hoff is allegedly put, and then you you Uh, the public oh, where we go. In the grand jury's secret case, Digman, 72, and reporter Don Fletcher, 69, were arrested Friday in Escambia County, which is on the Alabama-Florida border. Veronica Ashley Four, the county school district's payroll and insurance bookkeeper, was also arrested. According to the newspaper, the charges stem from an October 25th story about the Escambia County District Attorney Stephen Billy's investigation into possible misappropriation of federal COOF funds by or school district employees. Digmun is also an Escambia County School Board member. I can't wait, misappropriation of funds by a school board? Never have I ever. Did you hear about the story of a school, cafeteria worker who stole, like, 50 grand in chicken wings over the COOF period? That was hilarious. I think that was in Baltimore. I mean, it wasn't hilarious and, like, I'm taxpayers just funded 51 or 50,000 in chicken wings, but I'll find the story and we'll do it tonight because chicken wings. I love chicken wings, but they still can't find the daggone chicken wings. And no one noticed until like 4 years later. It was ridiculous. Revealing grand jury secrets is a felony punishable by up to 3 years in prison and a $5,000 fine. The story in question, written by Fletcher, cites, quote, documents obtained by Atmore News that Billy used or issued a subpoena to Four and the chief school's financial officer, Rochelle Richardson. Quote, the subpoena demanded certified copies of, quote, any and all checks written to employees and labeled as COOF payments or COOF bonus for the fiscal years of 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023, Fletcher reported. According to the subpoena, the documents were required for the purpose of furtherance of investigation and prosecution into a criminal matter. Prosecutor Stephen Billy defended the arrest with an interview at the Atmore Advocate. Quote, it's not allowed, Billy said. All three of them, including the girl that was expelled, were all charged with the same thing. You just can't do that. There's no reason for that. Innocent people get exposed, and it causes a lot of trouble for people. But the commitment to protect journalists said it was outraged and called on the prosecutor to drop all charges. Quote, they should not be prosecuted for simply doing their jobs and covering a matter of local interest, such as the allocation of school board funds, said Catherine Jacobson, CPJ's U.S. and Canada program coordinator. Journalists play a critical role in their local communities. Arresting them creates a chilling effect, and it is a gross misuse of taxpayer funds. I know. All three are bonded out of jail. A woman who answered the phone at the prosecutor's office when contacted by Law and Crime said Billy is not commenting on the situation. The site's 1819 News reported Digman's second arrest deals with ethics violations. She is accused of, quote, using her position for personal gain and selling $2,500 worth of ads to the newspaper, and she has financial interest in, the outlet reported. The Atmore News says Digman was escorted to jail by her attorney, Ernie White, and she was released after posting a $100,000 bond. White did not immediately return a call seeking comment from Law and Crime. You know, perhaps there could be a way, just don't defraud people and make sure you're ethically on the right side of the law. I'm just saying. It's not that hard to make sure if you have a question, if you're like, is this legal or not? Call a lawyer, a good lawyer, not like a bad lawyer, and just say, hey, I was going to do something and I was wondering if it was legal-ish. There you go. In ridiculous news, dozens of famous birds must now be or renamed because their monikers are clouded by racism and misogyny. What are these names? Please say it's the blue-footed booby. If we change the blue-footed booby, I am moving to Canada. I keep that name. Dozens of famous bird species will lose their familiar names in the coming months and years as part of a nationwide effort to eliminate monikers clouded by racism and to diversify bird watching. Because of all the things going on in the world, bird watching is and isms and phobias and phobias is what we should. The American Ornithological Society, which is responsible for standardizing English bird names across the Americas, announced plans Wednesday to ditch any bird classifications derived from a person's name, instead identifying them by their physical traits or habitats. Though not all fowl named after people are linked to unsavory history, the undertaking mainly aims to purge names associated by racism, misogyny, and genocide. I don't know that there's the starving Austrian painter of the 1930s bird. I've never seen that. I've never seen the Mao bird. I've never seen the Stalin bird. I've never seen the Pol Pot bird. I've never seen the Archie Bunker bird. Never seen, I'm what are we for the love of all that's holy? Birds with names deemed offensive and exclusionary will be rechristened. Y'all, I'm telling you, if they take away the tit willow, I'm done. If they take anything related to boobs out, I am done. We keep those ridiculous names in. I want them because I love being able to say tit willow in school, and I'm 12. As scientists, we work to eliminate bias in science. No, as scientists, you work to do science, not eliminate bias. What the hell is wrong with you people? But there have been a historic bias in how birds are named and who might have a bird named in their honor. AOS Executive Director and CEO Judith Scarl, PhD, said in a statement. I'm gonna say something a little Bronca-esque here, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but of course it's a lady. Quote, "Exclusionary naming convention developed in the 1800s clouded by racism and misogyny and don't work for us today. The time has come for us to transform this process and redirect the focus to birds where it belongs. The name purging will likely affect up to 80 different species in the US and Canada though the process is only in the early stages. For the love of all that is holy, stop it." Yes. The AOS's decision comes after years of mounting pressures from the bird watching or birding community to revoke recognition of racist historical figures whose names were bestowed on fowls. Oh, which ones? I have never. Which means that the Audubon's shearwater or native seabird native to the southeastern United States will no longer be linked to John James Audubon, the owner or the founder of the eponymous New York City birding community and slave owner who opposed abolition. He was a man of his time. And and Jordan Peterson has talked about this. I know everyone loves to say, like, if I was in, Austria in 1932 or whatever, I would have been that one brave person that would have told Mr. Hankety Clankety to shove it. But we probably wouldn't have been. And that's the sad thing. The sad thing is we are seeing schools tell Jewish students right now to hide in attics. I can't. We are worried about freaking bird names right now? Are you flipping kidding me? Please let a super volcano happen. I'm just kidding, y'all, but what the actual heck? The Audubon's society or Audubon's own organization voted in March to drop its problematic founder's name for the love of all that is godly, citing his legacy of white supremacy. No, he was a man of his time. He didn't see it as white supremacy, just like you don't see, owning a MacBook as enslaving a bunch of Sudanese or Congolese people to work in lithium mines to, get that battery that powers your MacBook, you idiot. But okay. So, in 100 years, when they get when your little wokeista, children get mad at you for having a MacBook because, you empowered the Congolese slave market to, you know, have basically slave labor to mine lithium for the battery that, goes in your MacBook, what are you gonna tell those people? It never ends. There was a time period, he was on the other side. Put on your big girl panties, go out and solve a problem that really matters, and what the f y'all people, you need a real this is what happens when we don't have real when people don't focus on real problems. You know what? These people need chores. These people need chores. Come over to my house. I have baseboards to dust. I have corners to, decobweb. I have windows to wash. People need chores. I have chores out the yin yang. Come to my house. You will be too busy folding and cleaning and cooking to deal with daggone bird names for the love of all that is holy. The organization Golden State has branched Branch followed suit just 1 month later. The Audubon Shearwater's new name will likely reflect its coastal habitat or its identifiable rounded wings, similar to how the blue-footed booby is named for its iconic unique teal flippers. Some birds have already undergone a change. They transition birds. I'm flippin' done. The thick-billed longspur, a small ground-feeding bird native to North America, was renamed in 2020 after nearly 3 centuries of being named for Captain John P. McGowan, a Confederate soldier who is, quote, perceived by many today as a symbol of slavery and racism. I'm done. I'm done. That's it. Let's go on to the next one. The woman famous for making many women think that a peacock's ass on their head looked like a good idea is living alone. I'm glad she changed hairstyles. But if I saw another woman try to do her damn haircut, I was going to lose my mind. Kate Goslin living alone in a North Carolina home after remaining sextuplets move out. Kate Goslin once had a busy household with 8 children, but now she's living all by herself in Troutman, North Carolina, home after her 4 remaining children moved out and left for college, according to a new report. The sextuplets who remained in her care were Aiden, Alexis, Leah, and Joel, all 19, as Colin and Hannah lived with her dad, John Goslin. Colin enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps after graduating from high school, while Hannah is attending the University of Miami as a business major. Twins Maddie and Kara, 23, graduated from Syracuse University and Fordham University in New York, respectively, in 2023, and both have jobs in the Big Apple. In Touch confirmed that Kate, 48, and her children lived in a one-story waterfront property that she purchased in April 2018. The home featured 4 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and a private pier and dock for a boat, pool, a hot tub, and extended garage. Now she has plenty of extra room without any children under her roof. The former TLC star has fallen on hard financial times after leaving reality TV. It is unclear if she's returned to nursing, although she has earned a multi-state license from the North Carolina Board of Nursing on June 30th, 2021. Kate lives paycheck to paycheck, a source told In Touch exclusively in October, adding that Kate previously admitted she borrowed $100,000 from her kids' trust to survive. The insider added, quote, "There hasn't been a glam squad for a long time, so Kate looks totally different. She stays home a lot and watches a lot of TV." Quote, "She's fallen quite a ways from being one of the country's top reality stars," the source continues. "Locals still do sometimes recognize her at the market, and it's not always positive. Kate continues to get a lot of hate from people. She doesn't have it so easy." Kate's last appearance on reality TV was for the first season of Fox reality series Special Forces World's Toughest Test, which premiered on January 4th. She and her fellow cast members were to accomplish similar training from the military's Real Special Forces Unit selection process. Unfortunately for the Pennsylvania native, her time on the show was extremely short lived as she didn't make it past the first half hour of the program's debut. Kate collapsed during a 2-mile run and was later taken away in an ambulance after injuring her neck, jumping backwards out of a helicopter into the ocean. It was clear she wanted to stay on the program, begging paramedics and producers, "I don't want to go home. Don't make me." Previously, she starred in Kate Plus Date, which only ran for one season on TLC. In 2019, the show featured Maddie and Cara helping play matchmaker for their mom. Yikes. So she's living alone and yeah, I kind of liked the show at first. She was a control freak. I hated the haircut. She definitely got a lot of women to get that haircut. Then, they split up and it was all weird and she's a definite control freak and yeah. But the moral of the story is don't get a porcupine behind on your head with the weird swoopy thing up here. She could pull it off for a short time. I like her better with long hair. In good news, Ethiopian-born Virginia teen honored for inventing potential skin cancer treating soap. A 14-year-old has created a new kind of soap he hopes could potentially be used to treat skin cancer one day. Hemin Belki Belkiki? Look, something. A high school student in Fairfax, Virginia, says it only cost $8.50 to create a batch of 20 bars of soaps, which he calls skin cancer treating soap, or SCTS. Quote, "People might not have the equipment or facilities to be able to treat the disease." Heeman told ABC News about the innovation, which he said could eventually be used to treat the early stages of skin cancer if proven to be effective. A bar of soap is so simple, so affordable, so accessible in comparison to these modern new skin cancer treatments. According to Hemmen, who created the soap in eighth grade, when skin cancer cells develop, they weaken the dendritic cells in the body that boost human immune systems or responses, allowing cancer to take over. He said SCTS contains agents that could potentially reactivate dendritic cells and help eliminate the skin cancer or the cancer cells. Quote, "It does this sort of compound based part of soap," he said. "It's charged with different cancer fighting chemicals. The main one, there is this drug called this, all the things, very long. This is amazing." At 12, he did this. Hemmen earned the title of America's Top Young Scientist and a $25,000 prize last month after his innovation won first prize in the 3M Young Scientist Challenge, an annual competition that gives the fifth through eighth grade students, quote, "a chance to change their world for the better with a single innovative idea." According to 3M, uh, yeah, me too. I told Mr. Mo, and he was like, "That's sad." And then he said, "Did you really say mouth hug on the internet?" And I said, "Of course I did." And then there was a lot of eye rollery. It's like he doesn't even know me anymore. If you don't know me by now. You will never, never, never know me. He saw the ride and still bought the ticket. I have no sympathy. I never claimed to be normal. Let's see here. Um, quote, "He's an incredibly bright, passionate, focused man." Deborah Isabel Hemmons' mother mentor for the 3M Young Scientist Challenge and a product engineering specialist at 3M, said about him in a statement. Hemmon is both passionate, compassionate, and charismatic, which are traits for a scientist. With his curiosity and determination, I have no doubts he will change the world for the better. When asked the likelihood of SCTS actually treating skin cancer, Isabel replied that it was possible, but it would need to go typical clinical trials that would take between 5 to 10 years. At this point, Hemmon says he has not performed any physical trials, instead using digital molecular testing, secondary data analysis, formulaic computations to reach his results. He mathed. He is not a lawyer. He is a scientist. He mathed. God bless him. Okay, so I stole that from Crowder. He says that all the time, and I stole that, so that is not a Mo original. I will say that. But after I heard that, I was like, "Yes, I'm appropriating that, and that is my new line because it fits." And I like to cite sources and give credit. I footnote, if you will. According to Isabel, there are topical creams that treat skin cancer, but they're more expensive than SCTS and use different ingredients and formulations. Uh, Hemon was born in Ethiopia and moved to the US at age 4. He said he remembers the toll poverty took on many of the people in Ethiopia and how they would live, work, and toil under the glaring sun. According to the young scientist, those images struck him, leaving him to wonder how the constant exposure to ultraviolet rays under the sun were affecting people of his homeland. Quote, "This isn't even an issue that's strictly in Ethiopia. It's an issue that's worldwide," Hemmon said. I want to keep calling him Herman, but it's Hemmon. Sorry, sir. So then, when they do end up developing issues like skin cancers, it's just really incredibly difficult for them to be able to afford the cures. For now, Hemmon says he has a 5-year plan. At the end of it, he hopes to have created a nonprofit organization where he can provide equitable and accessible skin cancer treatment to as many people as possible. But to accomplish his goal, he would have to get his treatment through clinical trials, obtain a provisional patent, and have it certified by the Food and Drug Administration, he said. When asked by ABC News what motivates him to reach such lofty goals, Hemmon responded, quote, "I think I can condense my answer into one word and revolves around its impact, making sure the science that you're working on can have a direct impact on the world and make it a better place in one way or another." Yeah, probably. But I wanna be hopeful for just now because he's mathing, and I'm so proud of him for mathing because I can't do it. And he did something really good, and he did his science project probably without his mom nagging him the day before, like, "Hey, mom, I need a poster board." "Okay, well, when's your project due?" "Yesterday, tomorrow." So, you're there until 3 a.m. helping with the poster board, like, "God da son of a" you know? So, I am just as a mama, I'm just so proud of him for doing all of this work, and his mom probably didn't have to nag him. She didn't have to buy supplies the night before, like, "Mom, I need a tri-fold poster board," "My friend needs to come over. We're gonna need, glitter pens and everything." Not that I speak from personal experience, not that any of my angel children would have done this to me before, not that any of this has ever happened traumatically to me. But I do hope he's able to accomplish his goals. It's nice to have a nice story to end on where, there's something hopeful. Maybe I I pray and I hope that he is able to accomplish his goals. So in a recap, Bob Knight, rest in peace. I'm glad he got to go quietly and peacefully with his family around him. There can be no greater wish for most people. Um, the DA in the Barry Morphy case seems to be just all about the shenanigans, allegedly. Don't come at me, Miss DA. Also, possibly just think about it. And I know you are rocking your own style, but perhaps not dark eyeliner on the bottom of your eyes if you're not going to line the top of your eyes. It's just a weird, off putting look to me. But again, you rock you. I'm just questioning it a little bit. Uh, a Connecticut judge says shenanigans in the Democratic primary, but that primary will happen after the general. So there you go. America. Journalists apparently leaked a grand jury information, but journalist associations said they should be allowed to. So who knows? Birds need new names because stupid. And Kate Goslin lives alone. And a young boy may have found potential cancer treating soap. I will see you guys in just a little bit over on Nicholas's channel. I had a brain fart for just a second. On Nicholas's channel, we will get into Charlie Adelson's testimony. Hopefully, we will see Murphy. I am just waiting for Murphy Brown. And I know it's Miss Kappelman. I know it is, but she will always be Murphy Brown in my heart. And I didn't get a chance to get a Lincoln hat, but I might tomorrow. And it continues to not be Friday. It is Thursday, November the 2nd. Have a wonderful day. If I don't see you the rest of the day, oh, yes. If you don't want to go see Charlie Adelson, Baker is continuing to cover the Visine trial. I know he would appreciate you going over there and giving him a like. He did do the Turtle Boy interview last night. I did not see that, but I will do a rewatch. I may have gotten a little Twitter pated last night and needed to lie down. So I will be on the rewatch crew for that. Have a wonderful day. Please like and subscribe and share. And I will see you guys in just a little bit. So there you go. Bye, guys.